It's gotten warm again, and every time I go outside without a sweater or a coat, I feel naked and exposed like I forgot something. I'm sure I'll get used to it again. Welcome, intellectual, to the main menu of Half-Life 2 again, cause since the anniversary in 2024, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, and Half-Life 2 Episode 2, as well as The Lost Coast, is now a single combined product. From here, we're gonna go to Episode 1. I'm gonna go hard, as evident here. Pick new game with developer's commentary, cause behind the scenes content is always cool. If anything looks too good to be true, it's cause it is, cause I installed a few visual mods, nothing to do with any anniversary updates. I'm gonna sync up and we're going in. I can't wait to tell you about the bad day I had.
Welcome to Half-Life 2, Episode 1. We received a great deal of positive feedback on the commentary track in The Lost Coast, and so we've included the same feature in this episode. To listen to a commentary node, put your crosshair over the floating commentary symbol and press your use key. To stop a commentary node, put your crosshair over the rotating node and press the use key again. Some commentary nodes may take control of the game in order to show something to you. In these cases, simply press your use key again to stop the commentary. With episodic content, we are hoping to release games much more frequently than has been possible with the monolithic development schedules of the past.
Right.
Game developers and game customers have been wanting to try this for years. Please let me know what you think after you've had a chance to play this, our latest installment in the ongoing adventures of Gordon Freeman. I can be reached at gayben@valvesoftware.com. Thanks, and have fun.
Tell me, Dr. Freeman, if you can. You have destroyed so much. What is it exactly that you have created? Can you name even one thing? I thought not.
We used an upgrade of the refractonator from Half-Life 2 to make the Vortigaunts warp into the intro. The major difference is that this time we are only refracting pixels that come from the Vortigaunts themselves. We placed a large sheet of refractive geometry in front of each Vortigaunt to achieve this effect.
This intro sequence establishes some important initial pieces of Episode 1's story and setting. Our earlier versions of the intro sequence were heavy on graphic effects and relatively light on storytelling. When we showed those early versions to playtesters, they thought it was cool, but rarely had any idea what was supposed to be happening. We went through several iterations, each time simplifying the editing and tightening up the effects. We eventually arrived at a good middle ground between the sort of psychedelic look we were shooting for and basic comprehension of what was actually taking place.
We'll see about that.
That's another iconic line. What just happened? I feel like I relived the entire Black Mesa incident all over again in hyper-realism. Huh? Don't drop me!
Oh my god! Gordon!
Oh, from dream into a dream, huh?
Worried.
I love how you clipped your face through my fucking geometry.
Hey, the gravity gun. Give it to him, dog.
Yeah, give it to me. That's mine, essentially. So where's my gun? Oh, there it is.
There, Gordon. Dog's happy to see you. I can tell. Okay, dog. Go get the monitor set up so we can check in with my dad. He must be worried sick about us. He was
Fuck.
so sure I wouldn't find you here.
I can't imagine why.
It's really coming apart. I still don't know how we got out of there. The last thing I remember is brain falling. Huge explosion, and then I heard Vortigaunts. Next thing I knew, Dog was digging me out of the rubble. Oh, it's all so strange.
You have no idea what I remember.
We should... It's my dad. We've been trying to reach him for hours. Wait till he hears that we found you.
I'm sure he'll be delighted. Right, so we obviously start off here, not having been killed in the nuclear explosion or whatever. We obviously start off with the gravity gun, because now that's an iconic thing. Deservedly so. It brings very much fun to the gameplay, being able to manipulate physical objects like that. Also, now you should be able to see how high quality the gravity gun is, because of the mods. We barely even taking first steps and... What is it? What's the phrase? Taking a foot? Putting a step... Standing a foot? Stepping a foot? Something like... I think stepping a foot. Stepping a foot... Fuck. Stepping a foot into this intro, and we already have 4 more commentary notes, so let's go over them. It's not like this game is long. Also, like I said, yeah, episode 1 went fast. Episode 2 went fast. Episode 3 never came out. Half-Life 3 never came out. Half-Life Alyx took like 10 years, if not more.
Players love Dog, so we made sure that he was the first thing you see when you wake up in episode 1. We also wanted players to get a glimpse of the crippled Citadel. When Dog lifts you out of the rubble, it's one of the few instances in the game when we take control of the player's view. This allowed us to ensure the player's view lingered briefly on the Citadel before Dog set them down.
Is it only for me, or are you also hearing the audio being more in the left than in the right? Let me check. Right, maybe that will fix it. Yeah, Dog, and they took control over our camera at the end of the previous game, the original game. Well, maybe not the original, the Half-Life 2 game. We've been put in the little cart that carries bodies or people, however you want to look at it, and that took control over our... Oh hey, slow down. Control over our camera, essentially, as well. Also, the movement feels floaty and slidey. I'm not putting any extra. Maybe you can hear me pressing the keys, or letting the key go and clicking against the structure. Yeah, it's weirdly floating.
Since we never take control away from the players,
Other than just here.
Since we never take control away from the players, it can be a real pain to get them to notice important environmental events. It's a constant design challenge for us. The Citadel will be erupting in a massive light show that took 10 of us 2 months to orchestrate, and if we're not careful, the player will end up facing the other direction staring at a tire.
Right.
In this case, to establish that the Citadel is coming apart at the seams, we wanted the player to notice the debris falling off of it. We used a pretty straightforward method here. Alex explicitly mentions the Citadel while pointing at it. Like most of these solutions, it's not foolproof, but it has a high success rate.
Yeah, also the part is that she specifically, as usual, the NPCs are talking to you, so they look at you, and then she just points up. Well, maybe she could see it from here, but the Citadel is this way, so I would expect her to turn around and look at the Citadel that way, and maybe point at it then, and then look over her shoulder to you to make sure that the eye contact is maintained somewhat. Checks if you're checking the tower out, not checking her out. Or maybe, you know, she already has the hots. Next commentary note.
This area was redesigned several times in order to keep the player in this space while Alex delivers some exposition. As much as we hated to do it, the final solution was to have Alex climb out while the player looks for an alternate route. We portray Alex as more athletic and nimble than Gordon, so players shouldn't get too irritated by the fact that she can get to places they can't. Honestly, we're not especially happy with this crutch, but it's a trade-off we sometimes have to make so that we can get Alex out of the way of interesting player challenges.
Yeah, you know how it is also. Fortunately, the gravity gun is the first thing that we get up, otherwise they would design the whole area differently. But also, when you target something that you can interact with, the grabbers activate, or whatever, right? Whatever that does.
The Citadel is supposed to be a building of unprecedented scale. So out of scale with the rest of the world, in fact, that we couldn't render it without our 3D skybox technology. This technology allows us to build the Citadel as a 1/16th scale model off in an unreachable corner of the map, and seamlessly merge it into the scene. We also use this technology to create the illusion of vast spaces and distant horizons.
Alright, finally, that's all the nodes in this area, but... Oh, we are breaking the boards first, and then we're making ourselves a passage. This is always janky, man. I haven't played Alyx, but every time you're trying to move something that's already attached, are you pulling it in? What are you grabbing it by? By the center of gravity or by the edge? Does that give you any more control? When it's already like in the air and I'm pushing, why isn't it just moving towards the gravity gun being attracted. Also, fortunately, maybe Alex is athletic and light on her feet, generally just light, so it's easier for her to lift her own body weight up, because there's less of it than if she was a male. Meanwhile, we've just got force powers, essentially, so I guess that balances out. And before we leave this cradle of introduction, the bad day that I had, well, my computer crashed, as it tends to do, and instead of doing all the usual thing, it's sort of like when your USB devices tell you that you have to first uninstall them before safely removing them, because otherwise there's going to be an electric spark going through and burning, frying the memory, so they say. I didn't close off all my browsers, I just hit the reset button, and when I came back to the operating system, when it all relaunched again, I lost all the history for my browser. Not that there was anything very important or interesting, but you know, I had my tabs and I wanted them open because maybe I could have gotten back to them. Now I'm not getting back to them ever. Like I said, it's nothing important there really. If I really wanted to keep something, I bookmarked it, but it's a loss. And you know how it is. It's the emotional hit, but emotions go away. So remember that when you're having a bad day. Emotions are short-living, short-lasting, not long-lasting, one way or another. So they'll go away and you'll have to continue as it was. Alright, so at least flashlight works still. Dog, what are you doing?
What the dog doing?
Dad, are you there? Alex, come in. Hold on a sec, there's so much interference.
And so much commentary notes, so many actually. This is the funny part. He's now an antenna because he's all metal.
Okay. Little to the right. There we go. Hold it there. We got it.
To whose right?
Alex, where are you? Please, God, tell me you're out of the city.
Not even close.
Well, not quite yet.
What?
But listen, Dad, we found him.
You found Gordon? I don't believe it. But listen, you two have to get out of the city.
Yeah, obviously.
The citadel could blow at any moment.
There's no question that it will, I'm afraid. Our remote sensors indicate the process is accelerating toward a dark energy flare. Anyone left in the vicinity will be subjected to energetic events whose effects are beyond my powers of speculation. The ravages to cellular material are unimaginable.
Stop!
Dad?
Oh dear, Eli, I'm sorry, but surely there's no need for undue alarm. Alex is well out of harm's way by now.
Well, actually, we're still at the Citadel.
What? Oh dear, but there's really no time. The core is exceedingly close to collapse. Why, there's no way to get far enough without first... Well, nothing short of a direct intervention in the core could...
Or a car, maybe.
The reaction.
You mean going in?
Into the core, yes.
Can we just hijack a patrol vehicle from Combine?
The chamber will be bathed in radiation.
Well, you do have the hazard suit. If we found a
I can give it to you.
it's possible.
I'm sure you'll fit.
No!
But Dad,
Maybe the glove parts won't.
Talk some sense into her.
I'm sorry, Eli, but I don't see any other way.
We can run.
Would help us evacuate more citizens.
we can do this, Dad.
What was it? The long ball? The long throw?
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Just promise me. Promise me that you won't take a single unnecessary risk.
I promise. I love you.
I love you too, baby. I'll be praying for you.
Don't worry. I'll see you soon. Yeah. Don't worry.
I felt the same when I was under the fucking rubble.
Right away into the Citadel from somewhere along the rim.
Right.
Dog, a little help, please?
It's beyond my ability too. And I'm a Jedi. Maybe I'm just not a very good Jedi. Maybe I'm not just a good Jedi.
Okay, boy. Pack up and meet us on the far side of this ridge.
Right, so Doug will politely wait for us now. What are you saying? I'll take your word for it.
For you, Gordon.
You're gonna wait there then? Leaving her hanging this time. Right, one thing, I think her textures are improved by a mod. Second, the wrinkles and shine on her leather jacket this time, I think... I'm not sure. It might be. I don't know, maybe it's too good to be true. But, another bunch of fucking notes, so of course we're going through all of them.
Right off the bat, we needed to hammer home some story points, reintroduce the cast of characters, and explain the player's immediate goal. it was a pretty intimidating chunk of non-interactive exposition. We generally approach these scenes by writing way too much, and then through constant playtesting, trimming the scene to more manageable levels. But in this case, even after some heroic pruning, the opening scene still felt too long. We ended up splitting the introductory sequence into 3 scenes, separated by some gravity gun puzzle solving, and then a dramatic walk across a crumbling ledge.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is the definition of iterative design or something like that, where you come up with all the ideas and then you check them, you try them out, and maybe something is wrong, maybe something's right actually, so you leave that, you kick the other things, change it, keep the things that were working. Maybe eventually you might end up climbing, like there's a thing in like neural network science, something like that, computer science, and adversary networks, something like that, where you can train a model to, for instance, you have 4 parameters, speed, accuracy, let's say, I don't know, rate of fire and something else, whatever, right? And the computer will decide, oh yeah, I've climbed the peak, I'm at the top, look, I've maxed out speed. And so the computer is satisfied with that because it maxed out speed, but it turns out if you maxed out or went just medium with the rate of fire and accuracy, you would have had better score, but the computer doesn't know that, so it's satisfied with like climbing at full speed. What I'm trying to say is that you might end up having your good ideas that are working down the line in your iterative process, and you can't progress from there. Though you have that solid foundation that you thought was working, you might end up needing to scrap all this altogether and start anew. That might happen, but iterative design is the idea that should help you do it gradually, keeping things that you liked and maybe cutting only some things.
When we designed the Half-Life 2 facial system back in 2000, our goal was to get a natural-looking performance at a moderate distance. Given our real-time polygon and texture budgets, we chose fairly reserved or constrained performances over ever having the actors' faces get into a bad-looking or unnatural expression. For Episode 1, we wanted to extend the character's facial system to support more intense performances with a wider range of facial expressions that would hold up better at close range. These facial improvements included increasing the detail around the eyes and mouth, increasing the number of facial shape targets, think of these as movements of muscle groups, by about 50%, rewriting the rules that control how these shapes blend, and increasing the intensity of many of our existing shapes. In addition, we added support for controlling the amplitude of the facial movement for lip sync animation, which let us dampen or amplify the mouth shapes based on the volume or intensity of the dialogue.
Yeah, facial technology. I think in the previous game, Half-Life 2, they had a specific line where they talked about how they designed the game to be viewed in like a field of view of 80 degrees, so that you have real close views, or the face is gonna take up a lot of space on your screen to actually show off those faces. And this game, I'm playing that in 95 degrees, so I'm ruining their design idea, but it's an FPS, so fuck you, we're gonna go fast, frames, save, scales, something like that.
Monitor scenes are especially difficult to make interesting, since they tend to involve literally just talking heads. By interweaving critical expository information, like how dangerous the Citadel has become, with some dramatic character interactions between Alex, Eli, and Dr. Kleiner, we were able to convert a potential liability into one of the strongest scenes in the game. A great way to illustrate characters' relationships to each other is to have one of the characters in danger and show the other's reactions to it, which is what this scene is all about.
Yep, you have to have them address the conflict, otherwise they can't define themselves. Frames win games, I think is the saying. And the last one.
Sometimes we need to keep the player in an area so that we can deliver some critical dialogue or run an important sequence of events.
The gates.
In these cases, we temporarily block the player's path using what we call a gate.
Mm-hmm.
These gates generally take the form of some obstacle that can only be removed or opened by some character or event. In this case, the obstacle is a crashed gunship that can only be moved out of the way by dog. Though the final scene looks pretty straightforward, a lot of care had to be taken to make sure that Dog hit his marks and played his sequences without trampling and damaging the player.
Yeah, it's usually the case. You can often see it in some games. That's like it's true 100% of the times, 60% of the times, from the way I'm phrasing it. You can see the NPCs deliberately being post somewhere and then awkwardly pathfinding and then stepping in and then stepping away because they need to hit the mark precisely and then turning and waiting and scanning, and only then they perform the action. So at least this worked smoothly. I don't know if it's because of the modern hardware or if it never happened because they choreographed it well. Also, this gunship is blackened. You can tell, well, obviously, right? But the eye is very black and gray, and it's usually very green. The faceted eye. So it's either been burned or been down for a long while, but why would it be? Also, those are of course not snowflakes. This is ash from fucking there probably. So maybe it's covered in ash. We shouldn't have been here for that long. It's still the evening. And otherwise the citadel would have also exploded. So yeah, some drop. You coming? You going? Right, I think we're gonna hit that node, and that will be the last thing that we're gonna do for this episode. I'm sure there are things going on in the world, but we're gonna tackle them the next episode.
Alex travels through much of episode 1 with the player, and consequently passes through a wider variety of lighting conditions than she did in Half-Life 2. This meant that we had to improve the quality of the lighting algorithms used on Alex to look realistic in any situation, from the eerie hallways of the Citadel to the streets of City 17 at sunset. For this episode, we added a specular lighting term to the shaders used on Alex, which provides a realistic shiny look to her skin, her leather jacket, and even her teeth. In these new lighting calculations, we chose to specifically emphasize bright highlights caused by illumination from grazing angles. This type of lighting, also referred to as rim lighting, is particularly dramatic when coming from low-angle light sources such as this bright sunset. You'll also note that the rim lighting is further enhanced by our high dynamic range post-processing, which causes the specular highlights to bloom in a striking and dramatic fashion. We have found that the move to an episodic development cycle allows us to take advantage of the fast pace of graphics hardware innovation by incrementally adding new features, such as Alex's new lighting techniques, to the source engine with each new episode.
Yeah, well, who'd have thought, right? Also, half of the terms went over my head. I don't know what's different. Like, give me the old rendering so I can compare, right? And then even if they do, like, something is shiny, is that better? I don't know. The other thing he said, iterative, yeah, just make more games, shorter games, more often, so you can patch things, right? But they didn't, they stopped, so there goes your episodes. Right, so that'll be it for today. Thanks for watching, hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully we will see each other in something I play for you for free. In the meantime, of course, interact with this video and every other video on my channel, preferably by watching and sharing it with your friends. Check out the RGB rave around the like and subscribe button, and if you don't like the content, it's entirely your fault.